Hi guys, welcome back to the Big Will Footy YouTube channel. Today I'm going to give my thoughts on all of 11 of Colchester's summer signings. Let's get straight into this. Now to start things off, we've got LSE Andolo. He was the first player to sign for Colchester this summer from Swindon for an undisclosed fee. I'm not actually quite sure what the rough amount is. And at the beginning of pre-season he spent most of his game time at centre mid. However, at the start of the actual season, especially the Bradford game, he spent most of the time at left wing back and didn't seem to have quite the same confidence there, especially at Bradford. He was targeted by their wingers and taken down. But despite this, he did try and play some positive attacking football, which is a positive sign. He put some crosses in, drove forward, but his injury record is letting him down here. He played one game and he's now out for around 10 weeks, so not good enough, that injury record. Secondly, Colchester signed Nico Lawrence on a season-long loan from Southampton. Since the beginning of pre-season, Lawrence put a serious shift in at centre-back. After coming to the club with such positive reviews from Southampton and Torquay fans, he has definitely lived up to the reviews. For his age, he's very calm and composed at centre-back and on the ball. He's one of our star performers on the ball, in a very struggling squad at the start of the season. He's also one of the very few players who just looks comfortable playing out from the back. We don't suit it, and I don't see why Garner continues to play it. But at the minute he's out for a few months after he picked up an ankle injury at Gillingham, but I can't wait to see him back in action because he is a good player. Our next signing was Owen Goodman on a season-long loan from Crystal Palace. Goodman came in with a good reputation from Palace fans and has been an unused sub for a few Premier League games when their main goalies are injured. He's 6'4" and has great reach. He can touch them top corners. Giant wingspan as well. He can cover most parts of the goal. Made some incredible saves so far. I don't know how many he's stopped in XG, but very good. He's become more comfortable in goal. He looked a bit shaky at the start, especially at Bradford, the first league game of the season. Got caught out quite a bit off his line, and they took advantage of that. And he doesn't also seem great playing out from the back, but hopefully he becomes more confident doing it as the season goes on. Next up is Mauro Bandera, also on a season-long loan from a Prem side, but this time Arsenal. Like Goodman, he has been on the bench for quite a few Premier League games, but has not made any professional appearances prior to his spell at Colchester. He started this season in multiple midfield roles, including cam, centre and CDM, and during the first pre-season game against Orient, I was very impressed by him. But in the league, he's not quite hit them levels yet, but I do fully believe he can make it. From what I've seen, he hasn't adjusted to professional football quite as well, because he's only ever played under 23s, and he got caught out of position quite a lot in the first couple of games, but he settled in off the bench in the last few games. But I'm very confident he will become a much better player as the season goes on. Next up is Tom Smith, who signed permanently after a previous loan spell at the club for the second half of last season. I personally feel this is a very sensible transfer because he's already played under Garner last season, and he would add great competitiveness with Goodman for the number one cover, and will add when Goodman's away on international duty for the England under-20s, I think it is. And during his 6 games at the club last season, he showed some very good reflexes, made some blinding saves, especially during set pieces. He was a lot more commanding in the box than O'Hara, I felt. But his goal kicks did let him down. They're often very inaccurate, and a lot of ones aimed to the wings did just go out for throw-ins by a long way, and they were a bit disappointing at times. Next up is Joe Taylor, who joined on a season-long loan from Luton. I first heard about him during last season's Championship player final, where he impressed off the bench, scoring a disallowed goal and scoring a penalty, going down as quite a Luton legend. So far during his time at Colchester, he has really impressed. He's constantly moving in the box, which our other strikers don't really offer much of, and has high energy pressing, which worked very effectively against Bradford. He got a goal thanks to his pressing. However, he does get tired quite often, gets substituted about 60 minutes every game. But overall, it's a great piece of business. But I do really get worried he might get recalled because he's doing so well in League Two. Next up is Mandela Egbo, who signed on an undisclosed fee from Charlton. So far in his career, he's played all around the world in the MLS for New York Red Bulls and in Germany for SV Darmstadt and Mönchengladbach, I believe. He played under Garner at Swindon and Charlton, so he's very familiar with the style of play and the tactics. From what I've seen, he does like to get forward from fullback, try and create an attack, but he has been caught on the counter-attack attempt in this the last few times. But he's confident in possession, carrying the ball. But he hasn't been playing in position. We've got a left-back crisis at the club, not got enough, and he even played centre-back a bit because of injuries. Next up is Zach Mitchell. Now, if I'm being honest, I'm not too familiar with this player, but from what I've heard from Cheltenham fans, he's a solid young talent who adds necessary cover at centre-back due to Dallas and Lawrence's long-term injuries. Again, this is just from what I've heard. He is very composed on the ball, but he does need a few more professional games via his full potential, as he's only made 11 professional appearances and most have been off the bench or in the EFL Trophy. Next up is Jay Mingy, who signed as a free agent after making 29 appearances for Portsmouth during 2022. Mingy was promised a championship football by his agent after turning down a new contract at Pompey, but somehow he's ended up at Colchester, the poor man. He adds very good energy into the centre midfield and won't stop easily. He's always going for tackles from what I've heard. He was known at Portsmouth for getting stuck in and constantly driving forward to help create attack, so should link well with Egbo. Despite all his energy, he has had a history with injury and fitness issues and will not probably feature for the next couple of games due to a lack of match fitness, but I do look forward to seeing him in a Colchester shirt. Our penultimate signing was Iwura Edwards for an undisclosed fee from Bristol City. This is probably the signing I'm most excited about because he was one of the stars in the 21-22 squad whilst on loan and was standout in one of the worst Colchester squads I've ever seen play. He's full of pace and energy, and during his previous spell at the club was constantly taking on defenders, trying to get a cross in or get into the box. And during his time at Ross County last season, he had a very high success rate when dribbling, but did miss quite a high amount of the season with an injury. Personally, I'm not sure where he fits in, because we don't play with wingers and he's a right wing, so whether he plays wing back or cam or striker, I'm not too sure. I look forward to it. I can't wait. Our final signing was Cameron McGeehan as a free agent. Now McGeehan fits the definition of what Colchester have been missing from the first two games. A CDM with loads of experience who loves to get stuck in. Our midfield is very young, so McGeehan is definitely needed in it. Not only has he got EFL experience at League One, I think he's even playing Championship as well. He spent 3 years in Belgium's First Division, making about 60 appearances for Oostende and playing against Champions League sides such as Club Brugge, Anderlecht and Ghent. There'll also be serious competition between him and other new signing Mingy, for who starts at CDM, and could even compete with Reed and Chilvers for the other centre midfield spot. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Any support will be appreciated on the video. Goodbye.